That oddly enough feels rather nice.
Yeah, it does seem to like...
It's tingly.
Yeah, really.
It's like the best head scratcher in the world. Alrighty, fellow travelers, welcome back to Adventures of a Traveling Don. My name is Benjamin O, and today I am starting a brand new series. I hope you guys enjoyed the last one. That Journey Across the West series was awesome. That was a great time to film, but we are back in Bar Harbor, Maine. And yes, I know, if you've been following the channel, I might have said that I probably wasn't coming back this season, but because of my Journey Across the West, it gave me the time and opportunity to come back and get some unfinished business done. And that is what this first video is about, because we are gonna go catch some lobster. Alrighty guys, so if you have ever had lobster, you probably had it from the state of Maine, because about 90% of all lobster that's sold in the United States comes from this state. And Bar Harbor is one of those places where they catch and fish for the lobsters. So we're gonna be going on a tour that is from the Bar Harbor Whale Watching Company. They do a lot of different types of tours: whale watching, seals, islanders, lighthouses, you name it, they've got it. I'll leave a link in the description for the company and all the different tours, they can check it out. But today we're gonna be going on the lobster catching tour. I believe that's about $38 on the general. My buddy Tim is one of the tour guides, so he's gonna be taking us around and kind of giving us the history of lobster catching, showing us kind of the process of how it all works. And we're just gonna be out at sea and get some great views as well. So, but anyway, let's get on the boat, shall we? So by the way, before your tour starts, whatever your tour time is, which today for me is the 10:15 a.m. one, you do come down to the docks. You'll see the Bar Harbor Whale Watching Company. You'll see Fish House Grill. It's all part of one building. So you come down, and Dock 3 is generally where they come out of. If you need a little cup of coffee, right next door is the Sunrise Cafe. Definitely check that out. Great place for coffee, and I think they also do some crepes as well. But anyway, yeah, you get in line, and try and get in line early because it packs out, and you want that best front row seat. And this here is the man of the hour, the myth, the legend, Mr. Tim. What's up, brother?
Deal.
Lobster time, lobster time. All right, guys, let's get out to sea.
So, while we point out wildlife and other locations, I'm going to use this boat like a clock face, so y'all pay attention. There is gonna be a test on this later today. So, like I say, a clock face, but not like your digital watch, but your analog clock. So, the bow of the boat is our 12 o'clock, starboard right-hand side is our 3 o'clock, the stern, the back of the boat is our 6, and our port left-hand side is our 9 o'clock. So the lobstermen, they have a minimum and maximum of 800 traps. We have a non-commercial, demonstration-only license, so whatever we catch, we must throw back into the ocean. Now, let me show you folks how a trap functions. In this section right here of the trap, this is known as the kitchen. In the kitchen, we will have a bag of food available for the lobster. Herring, mackerel, very oily fish that the lobster can literally smell to get inside the cage. So they'll eat a bit, then they'll make their way over to this section, the parlor. And inside the parlor, they think they're escaping, but they're trapped. This section right here is called the escape panel. This lets little lobster escape and crabs. So believe it or not, 75% of lobster escape from these traps, which is intentional. Rules and regulations say out here, lobster must be from their eye socket to the end of their carapace, 3 1/4 inches. Anything smaller must go back, but anything over 5 inches must go back to be a part of the breeding stock of lobster. So now, the lobstermen have to be careful about checking traps. If they wait too long, well, lobster enters survival mode. And in survival mode, decisions have to be made. A lobster will say to the other lobster, well, what about your legs? You don't need those. I'm just gonna have a little bite. And they will fight each other to the death. Yes, folks, lobster knows, lobster tastes good. So while that dead lobster is being eaten, other lobster are gonna come into the trap. They're gonna wanna eat him too. They're gonna say, looks like meat's back on the menu, boys, and pile on in. So, in the event that our lobster line ever gets cut, the trap becomes what is known as a ghost trap, sitting on the ocean floor, continuing to bring lobster in. So to combat this, we have what's called the ghost panel on top of the trap, which is held down by biodegradable rings. So after 6 months, it'll erode, and the panel will pop off, allowing lobster the chance to escape from the trap. So 1 in a million is a blue lobster, and the list goes on how rare they can be, as you can see with this list. So if you folks want to see a blue and an orange lobster, check out the Oceanarium found here on Mount Desert Island. They have 2 of those. At the Bar Harbor Lobster Pound, they have a cotton candy lobster right now. So the list goes on. Or the Rye, New Hampshire Science Center has a green, a white, and a calico lobster there. Pretty cool. So the lobstermen will donate these lobster if they catch them. But I assure you folks, the color does not impact their taste. So no folks, the blue lobster do not taste like blueberries. The snoz lobsters do not taste like snozberries.
Crab juggling. My goodness.
So maybe you got stuck in a rock or a hard place, or maybe an octopus bit it off, or somebody in the trap was really hungry and wanted to take a bite of his claw. Lobster are similar to animals, such as axolotls and iguanas. What's cool about those animals?
They regrow.
Correct. They have the ability to regrow lost limbs. So over time, this lobster's crusher claw will regrow to its appropriate size. So check that out on the crusher claw.
So this is like the half of the claw of one of those like 150, 200-year-old lobsters. I mean, just look. That would crush my head.
Take a look at this.
Gee, many Christmas, that's a massive claw.
Claw here. No. Soft to open like an alligator's jaw, but the crush down is very powerful. This claw was this. That is the shredder or pincher claw. This is the fork and knife of the lobster. So this is good for catching fish and scavenging as well. So let's see. Do you want to get crushed or do you want to get pinched? Pinch or...
Okay, so we have arrived at Egg Rock Island, and there's actually the Egg Rock Island Lighthouse that's out there. That's one of kind of like the iconic ones that are around the islands here. And this is where they come to see a little bit of seal. So along with the lobster catching and kind of the whole lobster experience, you also do a little bit of seal watching. And we've actually been able to see a couple of them have breached, and they've kind of been in the water. We're still looking to see if we can find any on the land, but we have been able to see a couple of them in the water. It's just really cool. It's beautiful. I want to talk about a beautiful day. I mean, just look at this day. It's absolutely gorgeous out here today. Hopefully, you know, always watch the weather for this stuff, because if you can get a day like this, it's absolutely perfect. But yeah, a little seal watching after a little lobster catching. Kind of fun.
So, this is what you do. One hand for the back like this, one hand secure the tail like that. Then, you can hold your lobster. Do not hold the lobster by the claws and do not touch the bands. I have had enough people attempt to remove bands in the past, so not gonna happen. So I'll have 2 lobster, 1 for each row. Make sure everybody on your bench gets a turn, then pass it back. Don't pass it across. Now also, what you can do with the lobster. You can take a picture with them. If you want, I can put them on someone's head. You can sniff the lobster, or you can give the lobster a kiss. Yes. Alrighty, here you go.
Okay, so we get to hold the lobster. So if you ever get the chance, definitely do this. But remember, as he said, by the tail and by the back. This guy was trying to get away, and as you can see, he's already kind of looking at me, and he's trying to get out of his claws with me. So, hello, buddy. Oh, you smell so good. We're going to have you later. That oddly enough feels rather nice.
Yeah, it does seem to like.
It's tingly.
Yeah, really.
It's like the best head scratcher in the world.
Would harvest them, they realized the shells were good for fertilizer, but the meat just disregarded as peasant food. So feed the lobster meat to your servants, your prisoners, 7 days a week, 3 meals a day. Now, here's the thing, folks. Lobster meat is tasty and all, but it's not sustainable for the human body. So you can't just eat lobster. You don't get all the nutrients you need. So they were able to fight back in revolt and say, you shall not feed us lobster more than 3 days a week. They got what they were asking for. So now, 1820 comes around. That is when Maine split off from Massachusetts and became its own state. So what happened was, the lobster industry was taking off, but a problem arose with shipping lobster. Lobster can survive out of water for 2 hours. They have gills like octopus and fish. So they can survive in cold, damp containers for a couple of days. But other than that, they didn't quite know that at the time, so the canneries opened up across Massachusetts and Maine, and they took over the lobstering industry, proven to be very efficient at shipping lobster meat until the 1900s. No more eligible sized lobster were being caught. So the canneries went out of business, and everything went over to the lobstermen and Fish and Game to determine what we're going to do to bring back the lobster to the Gulf of Maine. So folks, with everything I showed you today is a part of the reason we have lobster back in the Gulf of Maine again, and why the numbers are sustainable right now. You should note, Long Island Sound lobster population is not doing so well, and in Canada, they don't have the same size regulation. So this here, the Gulf of Maine, is the last great area for lobstering in the world. Be advised, there is close to 1 million traps in the Gulf of Maine. 90 million pounds of lobster were harvested last year, making it the bread and butter of the state of Maine. So you might wonder, why are the lobster here naturally? Well, it has to do with water temperatures. You should note, the Gulf of Maine has the fastest warming body of water on the planet. So during the spring and summer, the Labrador current comes down from the Arctic, And with that brings cold water. The cold water is more prevalent closer to shore, so the lobster move in, and the lobstermen set their gear and prepare for a busy season. But at the end of fall and in the winter, the Gulf current that comes down from the Gulf of Mexico brings warm water up here. And that warm water will make the lobster move 50 miles offshore. Most lobstermen haul in their gear and call it good, but some lobstermen will continue to operate 50 miles offshore in the winter. Now, I believe the winter price ended at $10.75 per pound. Right now, it's fluctuating around $5 a pound. Now, folks, you don't get to quote me on that. The restaurants, they don't know me, so that's not going to reflect what's on your bill tonight. So, this is how it works. From the piers, the lobstermen will sell their catches to the lobster pounders, who will send trucks out to weigh the lobster. They will buy the lobster depending on the market price and what the demand is for the lobster. So it is ever so changing. They will then ship the lobster to the pounds. They'll be kept in tanks until they can be distributed to restaurants and beyond. So that's why it's like $50 on your bill tonight. But if you would like to buy a lobster directly from a lobsterman, you can't do it out of Bar Harbor, but you can do it out of the other harbor's piers. Go ahead and approach a lobsterman, and the lobsterman will charge you a honest price. They only lie half the time. That's also a lie.
All right, guys, so we have just gotten back into town from the Lobster Tour, and I've got Tim here real quick. So I know you guys have been watching him and explaining everything, but I had just a couple of quick questions. First and foremost, Tim, how long you been doing this stuff?
So I have been doing these lobster tours for just about 1 year now. I had to arrive with the company, and then I had to learn the tricks of the trade, and precisely a year ago, I got moved up to doing these naturalist positions.
Nice. Now, I think I remember earlier you were saying you also have worked in Alaska and other places as well?
Yes.
So, okay. Doing more just pure nature tours, or what was your stuff like in Alaska?
So in Alaska, I would do tours where I would show people orcas, glaciers, whales, puffins, sea lions, etc., and doing a more in-depth nature type and location and history tours.
Gotcha. All right. Jeez, this guy travels even more than I do at certain times. So another couple questions. When it comes to the lobster tours, you guys are affiliated with Bar Harbor, the Whale Watch Company?
Correct.
Okay, and so what is that? You have a website. What's the price of this tour specifically?
Ooh, shoot, that's one you're gonna have to check out for yourself.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I thought I saw something like 30 some odd plus.
That does sound right. I never check. Honestly,
Okay.
Sorry.
That's all right. Well, I'll leave links in the description for all of their places. And on it, the last question is, what brought you to Maine of all places?
So my grandma was living in Hancock, Maine. So I went out there maybe 3 times till she eventually moved down to South Carolina. So it always just had a unique calling to me and reminds me of Alaska, as I don't live there anymore. But also I had this unique relationship with this company where they liked me 5 years ago but couldn't hire me, then COVID, then I got hired, but then I needed to go do some schooling. And so finally, after 5 years, they said to me, all right, you know what, Tim? We've talked enough on the phone. We've interviewed you so many times. Just you're working here now.
Well, you did a hell of a good job. So, I mean, you ever guys are in here, Lobster Tours, if Tim is still here, definitely check it out. It is a fantastic, and it showcases, like I said at the beginning, basically the staple of Maine. This is the cash cow of this state. This is the economy, and hopefully climate change doesn't do too much to mess that up for us.
True, yeah.
With the water. I mean, how much more if the water went up by 5 degrees, does that affect real bad? Like,
yes, that here in the bay, In a lot of areas, just the food is not great. So the puffins don't feed in this part of the bay. They have to be further offshore to get reliable food. And with different trophic levels of fish, seals have to dive deeper, and sometimes the juveniles are not suitable for deeper dives for food. And with the warmer waters, lobster move offshore.
Yeah.
So they only travel with cold water.
Gotcha, gotcha. All right. Well, Tim, thank you so much for the lobster tour, brother. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Ben.
I'll see you at karaoke later on.
So I can only go for a little bit. I gotta be up at 5 tomorrow morning, so.
Man, always working. But anyway.
I do sing a good Frank Sinatra or two.
He does indeed. All right, guys, we're gonna go grab something to eat, because since it's lobster, I'm gonna always get you something. So I'm gonna show you guys where to get some of the best lobster rolls in town. But anyway, Tim, appreciate you, and we'll see you around. Thanks, brother.
Thank you.
Now, obviously, when you're looking for lobster in Bar Harbor, honestly, you can walk into pretty much any restaurant, get lobster or lobster rolls, stuff like that. But there are a few honorable mentions that are kind of like really, really good. So you think about like right off the wharfs, you're gonna have places like Stewman's, Fish House Grill, West Street Cafe probably has the best price for like a lobster roll. However, a semi-unique way that they do a lobster roll is here behind me at a place called Geddy's. Okay, so we're in a place called Geddy's, and Geddy's is right off Main Street, about half a block down from the wharf. And the reason I like this place is, number one, it's very kooky. You kind of walk inside and it's just got random stuff all over the place, you know, oars and a big old elk, and there's just, it's a lot of fun. It's got a lot of character to it. It's got, they're really well known for their margaritas, which they have like little plastic dinosaurs. I'm actually on some allergy medication right now, so I cannot have a drink, but I am having their lobster roll, and their lobster rolls will be a little unique. So they make a seasoned mayo, whereas a lot of regular places just do like a light mayo or a regular mayo. They do a seasoned mayo with charred corn to top it off with the lettuce. So we're gonna go ahead and dig in and try this real quick. I mean, they give you quite a bit of lobster meat as well, so.
Thank you.
Ooh, that's good. Yeah, there's like a mild sweetness and spice to the mayonnaise. Doesn't taste like regular mayo. Really good. And that charred corn just adds a little extra texture and a little maybe like smoke to it. That's really, really nice. It's about 35 bucks, which is appropriate for right nowadays. Most places will be $35. West Street, you can usually get one for like 28, but the amount of meat you get in this one here in Geddy's and that seasoned mayonnaise, so good. By the way, when you are done with your lobster roll at Geddy's, come around the corner to their underground store. It's actually really expansive and really kind of cool. They've got a lot of good shirts and kind of like knickknacks, souvenirs, all that kind of good stuff. But it's really big. I didn't think it was that big, and just kept walking and it was like, oh, it just keeps going. But anyway, yeah, check out their store as well. Alrighty guys, so that is gonna be the end of the lobster tour here in Bar Harbor, Maine. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I will leave the links in the description for the tours, and also as well for Geddy's. If you're here in Bar Harbor, that is a great place to get a lobster roll. And like I said, it's a kooky kind of place, and you wanna get that margarita. It's absolutely delicious. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this journey here. This is the first of a set of series that I'm going to be doing up here. Some unique stuff that I did not get to the last couple years that I've been up here. So I've got some unfinished business. We're gonna get it all done, and then we're just gonna head off to our next international destination that will be in November. But until then, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And if you like the video, give it a big old thumbs up. And of course, if you haven't already subscribed, subscribe to the channel. What are you waiting for? And if you'd like to help support the channel, I do have both a Patreon page and a Buy Me a Coffee account. I will leave links in the description for that as well. But until we meet again, guys, peace out and have a great night.